Hello, everyone. Here you are back with me again, your show host, Rags. And how's everyone doing today? I want to just start with a very, very interesting quote that I've been reading about. And this is what it reads. So it says, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It is what consumers are going to tell each other about. This is by Scott Cook. And here I have with me this beautiful lady, ever shining, ever so glowing, Suzanne Shadwick. Suzanne, wave hi to our viewers. Suzanne's
Hello.
from Melbourne and she's a brand mentor. I'm sure a lot of us need a brand mentor right now, even just for our daily life. Suzanne, take it away.
Well, thank you so much for having me. So I guess when it comes to branding, I think that it's so important, especially today, for us to really understand what a brand is and how it can influence our career and our business and our life. And so I actually think that this is something that we should all be thinking about, Rags, if I'm honest. And I
Yes.
think that a lot of people don't always recognize the opportunities that having a really strong brand that people trust, that people want to talk about, that people want to buy from, what it really does for you. And so that's why I'm so passionate about working with businesses to really help them find that thing that makes them unique and stand out in the market.
I already feel the zing. Do you or not, my audience? I'm so excited, Suzanne, to take this forward. And I have to tell my viewers in a short second, watch out for this lady's lingo. She is fire and power. So you're going to enjoy this interview. Suzanne, do you really need a brand? How can we create a strong brand?
I think that when it comes to brand, I think the first thing that you have to make the decision on, because brand is really, like your quote said, it's about what other people say about you. It's your reputation in the market. And so in order to create a strong brand, I think the very first thing that you have to do is make a decision what you want to be known for. What is it that you want people to say about you? What is it that you want to be an expert in or that you want people to be referring you for? And so I think that that's the first thing if you're going to try and take control of your brand as well. And so really thinking about what do I want to be known for? So for me, I want to be known as supporting women in business to have bold and powerful voices and to take up space and to have a unique message. And I work with large corporates, both globally as well as locally, as well as small businesses. And either way, I think that that is the first thing. And I think if you can get really clear and make it really simple, what it is you want to be known for, I think that that is what cuts through the noise. I think that when we try and be really clever and complex, I think that it can get really lost because people are
Mm,
confused.
mm,
But when you say, this is who I am and this is what I do and this is who I do it for, I think that people are like, oh, okay, cool. You're either for me or you're not for me. And I think
mm,
that's a great place for your
mm.
brand to sit.
What a lovely answer. So you have to be very sharp and you have to be very witty. Am I right?
I don't know that you have to be witty because I feel bad for people who aren't naturally witty, but I do think that you have to be clear. I think clarity
That's
is
it.
what makes a brand really powerful.
Wow. So I can do it. I can brand. Go for it, Rags. Okay.
Absolutely.
Question number two. Play big, brand bold. I read this. What are your thoughts about this? I want you to tell my viewers.
Yeah, so this is actually something I've had my business now for about 5 years. And a few years ago, this sort of just came to me. It was more of a what is it that my clients really need to do? What is it that they're really asking for? And so Play Big Brand Bold just kind of, I don't know where it came from, but it came to me. And for me, it was really about playing big is making the decision to do things that are uncomfortable, that you may not know how to do, that you're actually putting yourself sort of out there and making a decision to show up, even if you're doing it imperfectly. And I think that's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And I speak to so many clients where they're like, but I don't feel like I've got it just right yet. I'm not sure that we're quite there yet. And I just sort of feel like you'll never actually get where you want to go if you're constantly waiting for things to be perfect. So I think that playing big for me is really making the decision to show up in an imperfect way and do bold things. And bold
Wow.
branding is really about loving what you're putting out there and loving talking about it, showing it. You know, I sort of talk about people don't, or they feel like they don't always love marketing their business or what they've got because they feel like people might feel like they're salesy. But I just say, if you really believe in what you have, if you really love what you provide to your clients, then you're not really marketing, like you're giving them an
Yeah.
opportunity to solve
Yeah.
their problem. And
Yeah.
that's what branding bold is about.
Amazing, amazing. I'm branding bold from now on the rag stage. Well, I already was because I'm super passionate about bringing you guys out to my viewers and connecting. But yeah, this is such a nicely said thing, Suze. Okay, question number 3. You always speak so strongly on creating memorable content. How can we achieve this, Suze?
So I think that one of the big things when it comes to memorable content is really having your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the market, in your market, and what's happening. And so the first thing is, I think, is knowing what's happening in the world and how your business, what you do, what you talk about fits into that. So that's the first thing, is having memorable content is about being relevant in the moment as well. So that's number one. The second thing when it comes to memorable content is having thought leadership. So this is about when it comes to you, where you grew up, your experience, where you've worked,
Hmm.
all the influences, the things you've learned at school, university, courses. Every single time somebody has an opinion, it's unique because
Correct.
your experiences and background and what you've learned
Hmm.
comes in a certain form. And even though somebody else might know similar things to you, they've not had the life experiences that you've had. And so I think memorable content that is unique to you is about really tapping into that. It's
Hmm.
about thinking about when you describe a concept, when you sell a product, how can you put your own unique experience and spin on it that really
Hmm.
only you can do. And I
Hmm.
think that's what makes it memorable. I always say that if you've ever seen a really great speaker on a
Hmm.
stage or on YouTube or wherever, usually the things that we remember are the stories that they told us, which
So
is
true.
usually unique to them and their
True.
experience. And
True.
in that story, there was a lesson.
Hmm.
And that makes it really memorable.
Hmm. 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 This is
So I
amazing.
think that,
You know, I love what you said, and I want to highlight this. This happened to me very recently. I had a viewer who DM'd in to say, Rags, so much of the content is so real. It's like, so, we can resonate. We're living that right now. So I think this answers that, doesn't it? This is just like what you said now, Suze, isn't it?
yeah, because I
Yeah.
think the thing is that if you decide to use everybody else's content,
Yeah.
and you don't create your
Yeah.
own, what people will remember is the person whose content
Yeah.
you shared.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not actually going to remember
No.
you. So it's
No.
really looking at how do I create memorable content is for me to be at the center of that content. So it might be your quotes, it might be things you've learned, it might be your stories, it will
Hmm.
be your brand visual look and feel that
Hmm.
you create something from, and that then builds your brand and it makes you memorable, because at times people see things and before they even know it's mine, they're like, it made me think of you. And then it usually is mine. Or
Yeah.
sometimes somebody will say,
Yeah.
I saw something that wasn't yours, but
Yeah.
it made me think
Made
of
me think
you.
of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that part. Yeah, it's perfect. Love that answer. Okay, our next question. How can we make sure our business has what it takes to succeed in today's competitive world?
Yeah. I think that one of the key things, so there's a couple of things. I feel like some of it's internal and some of it's external. So what I mean by that is I think that in order to really be competitive and be able to thrive, I think that you've got to once again have your pulse on what's going on in the market and really understand your audience. I think that if you're building products for a specific audience who you understand what their needs are, what they want, what their pain points are, then you can create things that you know are going to sell. So that's the first thing, is actually being responsive and not just creating something
No.
and then going,
Yeah.
I'm now looking for somebody to buy this. You
Yeah.
actually want to be creating. The
Yeah.
second thing that I would say is being really commercial in your business. It's really knowing your numbers. It's understanding profit margins. It's understanding how to market and sell and be able to build a brand that builds trust with your audience, where, you know, they really see the value over the price of what it is that you're selling. And
Sure.
so before you've even put something out there, they're like, what else have you got, Rags? Like, what else can I buy from you? What else? What's, you know, when's your next episode coming up? Like, you want people who are sitting and waiting for whatever it is that you've got. I've got amazing clients who are just like, they've bought everything that I've got, and now they're like, what else is coming, Suze? And I'm like, oh, which is amazing, you know. But I think that that's where, yeah, that's where a business can really thrive, is to build a community that love you, trust you, and want what you have.
You know what catches my eye here? I love how you've done my homework on the Rags page. I
Yeah,
could
that's what
just
you
tell this
want.
girl has done her homework thoroughly before she said, yes, I'm going to do this interview with you. Bless you. Well, we have something in common. We'll talk about it after the interview. So, can we jump to the next question, Suze?
Absolutely.
Nice. So, the key tactics that you want to point out which business organizations can do when building a brand or re-energizing a brand. This is very important, isn't it, in today's time?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really about understanding or going back to what your vision is as well, which we will talk about a bit. But I think that when it comes to re-energizing a brand, I think that you've got to be, like we said earlier, really clear on what you're here to do and who you're here to do it for, having a really clear message, and then being able to go out and either educate or inspire or entertain, whatever industry you sit in, deciding what it is that you're going to do to engage your audience, and creating that memorable content can really help you to revive a brand that maybe needs that, you know, kind of burst of energy. And so really thinking about, what are we doing, what's working and what's not working, and then the stuff that's working, let's like put everything behind that. The stuff that people are really like taking to and taking notice of and sharing and engaging with, that's what we need to do. And so, you know, even from my own experience, I found sometimes I'll do something, create something, whether it's content or a product, and I'll think this is going to be amazing, and then I put it out there and there's crickets. And then I do something that's kind of just off the cuff that I think, oh yeah, like I'll share that, and it will go gangbusters. And you've really got to be in tune with that and really understand what's working and what's not, so that you can amplify what is working for you. And I think that if you can also really take a look at, how am I building brand ambassadors? How am I surprising and delighting people who are actually here for us and making the effort to share what we've got? And I think it's those micro actions that make the biggest difference. I think that when you try and go after big markets, I think that you miss an opportunity to really start to hone in on people that can really help you push things forward in a bigger way, maybe to their audiences through collaborations, but just really listening, I think, is important, and reading the market. Like, I always look at my analytics as well, and I see what posts, what content, what products and services are doing well. And then I kind of look and I go, well, if that's what's doing well, then let's take our budget, let's take our energy, let's take my team, and let's focus in on doing more of that.
Sure. Well said that. Well said that. I'm sure the audience has got a lot of lovely tips, a lot of strong pointers in this answer. I realized I was intently listening to you. Okay, our next question. How would you describe an authentic brand? I know it's very easy, but I also know that it's very deep and it oftentimes can be a little misinterpreted. Am I saying this right?
Yeah, I think for me, something, when it comes to being authentic brand, one thing that people say to me is, Suze, no matter whether I see you speak in an event, I see you online on
Mm,
Instagram, I
mm,
watch a Facebook Live, I sit and
mm,
have dinner with you, like
mm,
I read some of your content, whatever it is,
mm,
they say it's always the same. It's always the same experience.
mm,
Like
mm,
when I see you online and I see you bright and vivacious and full of energy and I
mm,
meet you in person, it's exactly the same. And I
mm,
think
mm.
sometimes what happens is that businesses try to create this persona or
Sure.
they create this
Yes.
image, but then when
Yes.
people engage with them, it's
Mm.
not the same.
No.
And that
No. Mm,
creates like there's no trust there because
mm,
people are having a different experience. And so
mm,
when we talk about authentic brands, it's that everything that people experience, no matter where it is or what it gives them a great feeling. It's a
yeah.
consistent experience. It continues to build trust. And I
Sure.
think that that is what authentic
Yeah.
branding is. And it
Yeah.
doesn't
Just be
mean that,
real. Just
yeah,
be
doesn't
real.
mean it
Just
has to
be
be
yourself.
corporate or
Yeah.
serious or listen,
Yeah.
like it's not that. It's just whatever your brand is, whatever you choose it to be, it's consistent.
Yeah, sure, sure, right. And I think it also comes from clarity, doesn't it? Going back to what you just said. The
Yeah.
more, I mean, if you're hazy in the mind, you can never really achieve what you just said. So it's, guys, just be real and just be clear. Nice point.
Yes.
Okay, next one. Now, your tips to write down a brand vision and also what it means. Now, I want to say this on air. I went wrong, really so wrong. And I have to say this because the viewers have to know my story. So when I sat down to write my brand vision, because I come from a little bit of a glamour industry, so I was trying to fit glamour in with this whole sustainable crotch where I'm in right now. And I realized, okay, Rags, where are we going with this? Until when I realized, no, I'm going to bring myself down back to what I want to really do and what I want to really achieve from my channel. And I think that has helped so much.
Yeah.
What's your say?
So when it comes to vision, I always say to my clients, your vision needs to be the compass by
Mm,
which you make all your decisions through.
mm,
And so it's really, once again, coming back to that clarity. So,
mm,
for example, and I've got my vision printed and stuck to my wall, which is to support women to become bold and powerful voices, for them to play bigger and brand bolder and claim their space. So when
mm,
it comes to when it comes to my podcast, when it comes to my books, when it comes to my products and services, when it comes to anything, the
mm,
question I ask myself is, will doing this help me to support women to become bold and powerful voices and claim their space? And if the answer is no, then I don't do it. And
mm.
so I think that when it comes to a vision, it has to be something, one, that just is in you.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that you kind of are like, this is like what I would live and die by. It's like what I'm
Sure.
here to do. It's what I'm committing myself to, this outcome. And so that's then my, what I want to do. And I mean, even big companies like Nike or, the ones that we know, it's really clear like what their vision is, what they're here to do,
Yes.
who they're here to
Yes.
be. And they're unapologetic about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing is that when you really know what your vision is and what you're clear on what you want to do and who you're here to be and who you're for, I think that one, it makes your decisions really easy. Like, because people are like, how do you know what to say yes and no to? And I'm like, I just asked myself that one question.
That's
Yeah. And
amazing.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think
And then
I'm
it
going to do
just,
this. I should print this out. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
going to.
I printed mine and mine sits on my wall and it's just a reminder,
Sure.
and it's something I talk about a lot as well
Mm,
so that
mm,
people, and it's actually just something that I put on my website recently because I just thought I talk about it a lot, but I haven't written it on my website. So it's now on my front page because I'm just like, something, that's the only thing that matters to me. at the end of the day. And so when it comes to how you really look at your vision, I think you've got to ask yourself, if there's just one outcome that your business is here to achieve in its simplest form, what is that? What is that vision? And so I think that that's one of the most important things that businesses can do, because I think that when my clients feel lost and they don't quite know what to do or how to make decisions, 9 times out of 10, they've not anchored themselves in their vision and they're not using it as their compass on a daily basis. I think a lot of people go, oh yeah, you kind of just write your vision and your mission and your values at the beginning and then you never look at it again. It's on a piece of paper.
Say, when you would have stopped, this would have been my line. I was just going to say, this is something we do, but I think we do it very, it's at the backhand. So I've done it, I have it, and it's here in my book. But then that's that. But so I loved what you said, and it's so basic. This is something we do for even our children, don't we? We have those charts put up for them, be it math, be it science, so they resonate with it. But I think this is such a strong point, and it's a master stroke actually, if done well. We should just have it out there.
Yeah.
And I get you.
And I think that's okay. The other thing I'd say is that it doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning. Like I feel like mine has evolved. I always knew that I wanted to work with women in business, but I feel like really articulating exactly what I want to do with them and for them. And, that's evolved over time. So the other thing I would say is just see what feels right for now. And I feel like the more confident you get in your brand, the more confident you get in your business, the more you do so that you can really see which direction you're going to go in, the clearer and clearer that will become. To me, that is my anchor and my compass. And I know that that will probably be my vision for the next 10 years.
That's amazing. So we can keep bettering our vision. This is what you're saying, right? So we can play with it a little bit. And when we do this, I'm sure then we make more mistakes. And sometimes we're lucky and we don't make any mistakes. So, I still make mistakes every day. And that's fine. And that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's got it all figured out for sure.
I was speaking to a life coach from Singapore, and I loved what she said. She said, make a mistake every millisecond and learn from it and grow with it and get up and walk. And that stayed in my head. And I think it's true. Okay, our next question. So a quote from your page caught my attention. Now you know what I'm going to ask you. You can do big and scary things. Now tell us how.
Something, I think that this is such an important quote, if I'm honest, and it comes back to that playing big as well. Something, number one, nobody's perfect and nobody has ever done anything perfectly. So I think that us understanding that the only way we're ever going to learn, the only way we're ever going to move ourselves, our businesses, our lives forward is to step into big and scary things. But the one thing that I really hope is that it becomes something that is exhilarating and nerve-wracking in a good way. Where you're kind of like, something, this is going to be scary, this is going to be hard, but this is going to be fun. Yeah, this is going to be great. And I think that, Elizabeth Gilbert, who is an American writer, she wrote Big Magic, and she was the author of Eat, Pray, Love as well. But she wrote a book called Big Magic that I sort of say is my creative book that I go to on a regular basis. And she talks about the martyr and the jokester. And she talks about the fact that a lot of times in life and creativity and that we're like, if I do something new, then it's got to be hard and it's got to cost me pain and it's got to cost me something. And it's, it's like anguish. She's like, but something, we can actually make a decision to have a mindset of the Joker, which is just kind of like, pick a card, any card. Let's see what happens. Let's have a bit of fun. And if we fail, we'll try something different. And, you know, instead of kind of thinking, oh, if I do this and I fail, it's the end of the world. And so I do think that there is an opportunity, and I think it's a choice that we make, how we decide to go into things. And so I believe that we can all make a decision to do big and scary things, and we can choose to play bigger and brand bolder, and we can choose to be the jester instead of the martyr. And I think that it's a choice.
Make the right choice, my viewers. Listen to her, listen to Suze. I also think a lot of this comes with the right attitude. And also, I always believe that, you know, look, if we are maybe 6 pages of a book, each page has to be different. So there's something new and fresh to read. So just like that, we're all different humans. We all have different missions, different places to go to. So nobody really understands our journey, only we do. And we need to understand. And I always say this loud and clear on my channel, you know, let you be the person solely to decide what your journey is. Because what happens many a time, if you make a mistake, see, it's very easy to point, judge, you know, and to victimize. But I don't think that's something powerful women do. Am I right, Suze?
No, absolutely. Yeah. There's a quote, and I can't remember who it's by, but it's like, nobody who has ever achieved more than you will ever judge you.
True, true. Well said.
And I just think it's always the people, it's like Brené Brown says, it's always the people in the cheap seats, the people who are not willing to risk anything, the people who are not willing to do the big and scary things, that when you do it, they're the ones that are like, oh, well, you know, you weren't successful. But at the end of the day, you know, something, at least you were there trying, and at least you gave it a go. Because imagine if you lived, I think for me, this is one of my big motivators. Imagine if you lived a life where you never did big and scary things. Imagine if you just stayed safe the whole time. Imagine if you didn't take a risk learning or growing or building something or just doing things that challenge you. What kind of life would that be?
So dry, so dry.
So dry.
So gray.
Who wants a grey life?
Who wants a grey life? Oh my God, I love this conversation with you. I feel like we have that. Oh yeah, I said, I don't want to say it again. We're going to chat after this interview. Okay, our next question. Any pointers, Suze, on how to revive a lost brand, especially these days with this whole lockdown, you know, happening to us? I know many of us are in this boat. We're feeling low.
I mean, for me, there's a couple of things. So the first thing I'd say is that hopefully you've not stopped communicating with your audience during this time as well, because I think the one thing that I saw that I really loved is that when we went into lockdown and things were getting tough, I still got emails from people letting me know what was happening, where they were at, you know, if they were locking down, then what else we could do with them. So say cafes and stuff in our local area, or businesses that I bought from were like, we're still open, but we're online now, you know, here we are. And so I think that one of the biggest things in any business is really nailing your communication with your audience. Because if you don't communicate with me what's happening for you, I can't support you. Like, you're not giving me the opportunity to support you. And I have to say that during the lockdown, especially in the early period, there were businesses that were more physical presence products, those sorts of things. And they went online and they put products out there. And if I'm 100% honest, did I need it? I didn't need the product, but what did I want to do? I wanted to support them. And so by buying a $20, $40, $50, whatever it was, product from them, just knowing that I was helping their business to stay afloat during a tough period, I was so happy to do that. So I think a lot of times what happens is that we hit hard times and we just kind of drop off the face of the earth, and we don't communicate, we don't say anything, we go quiet on our socials. And can I just tell you that if you've built a brand that people love, and if you've built a community, they want to support you. So if you are looking to kind of revive something that maybe you did kind of, you know, lose that communication during this period, then I would really, encourage you to get out there and start to let people know that you're around, whether it's on your socials or if you've got an email list or whatever way you connect with your
Whatever it is.
customers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let them know that you're open again, or that,
Mm,
you never shut, but this is how they
mm,
can buy from you and support
mm,
you. And let
mm,
them know where you are in this whole thing as well, because we don't
mm.
just care about businesses, we care about the people behind
People.
the
Mm,
businesses. So I
sure.
think you need to share that story with them.
Right. And I'm going to take a moment to share what caught my attention this lockdown. So, we're big movie buffs, both me and my husband. And we're very, very loyal to this company called Majid Al Futem. I know they will be listening to me later on, and they run. So, Majid Al Futem runs cinemas here called the Vox Cinemas. And
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, one of those very prime early lockdown days, I received an email which read something like, "You can't come to the movies, but let the movies come to you." So what they did is they started delivering their snacks, their popcorns and that
Yeah.
candy. So we felt like, hey, the candy bar is open. But, just something as small as that has left such an impact on us. And I want
Yeah.
to say this on air. Well done to them. And then, they just came up with these lovely dances and, the whole feeling good thing by the walk
Yeah.
staff. And this reminded of them, when you said that it's about the people who work behind this whole thing. So this is exactly what they did. Now I'm also going to take another mo and share this out with my tribe, because I have to feel so grateful because they supported the whole page, the whole channel through
Yeah.
these 40 days or so. And this is why I could bring to them all this content, which is, this actually brings the power in me. It makes me want to do this for all of you viewers. So thank you and keep that love coming for the channel. And Suze, that's why I want to skim and I want to make sure that I bring to them the right relevant content.
Yeah.
And so I had to say this. You're absolutely right. It's about the human touch, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that, like I said, and I think this is so important to say again, people want to support you. So give them the opportunity.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I will remember this. I will remember this forever. Okay, our next question. Actually, this is our finale question. So, what's your secret mantra for a successful branding strategy? You're already smiling, like.
My mantra for a successful branding strategy. One of the biggest things that I always say is know where you want to position yourself in the market. And I think that this is actually one of the foundational things.
Mm,
Do you want to be Kmart, Walmart? Do you want to be Chanel? Do you want to be somewhere in the middle? Like, really know where you want to be in the market. And I think that if you can understand where you want to be and where you want to position yourself, then everything else falls in around that. Who your
sure.
customers are, what your pricing is, what it needs to look like, how you need to sound, what you want it to do. I think that, something like, obviously a brand strategy for Chanel is going to be very different to a brand strategy. What's like a budget shop or brand where you are, Rags?
Budget shop is, we have these discount stores, they're called the 10 and
Yeah,
20s. We call them the 10 and 20s, yeah.
there you
But
go.
I love
So the
them. I
10,
love them.
but the 10 and 20s is going to have a very different brand strategy to a Chanel.
Of
Yeah,
course.
or a Gucci. And
Of
so
course.
I think that those are the things, like I always say, I can buy a leather bag for $20 down at the market, and I can
Mm,
buy a leather bag for $5,000 at Chanel or
yeah.
wherever else. And but I think that, something, when it comes to your brand strategy, where you position yourself matters, because people buy what they aspire to be, do,
Mm,
and have. And
mm,
so I'm not just buying a product, I'm
yeah.
buying an extension of myself. And
Right.
so where you position yourself will make a difference and will speak to the people that you really want to attract. And I think that that is one of the main things that a lot of people don't always think about. They just think, oh, I've got this product and I'm going to just go to market. But I think that when you understand where you want to position yourself and you understand who you're speaking to in a really deep way, I think that
Right,
that's when
right.
you can really build that attraction and that trust and that lust as well, where people are like, I want
I
it. I
want
don't know
this.
why I want it, but I want it. You know what I mean? It's like you look at
Oh,
things and you're
yes.
like, oh
Oh,
my
yes.
gosh, that's amazing. I don't know why I want that, but I just have to have it. And I think that
Sure.
that is for me one of the core elements of a
Yes.
successful brand strategy.
Yes, that's amazing. And nicely said that, nicely put that. I like how you matched that to 10 and 20 over here. We gave them a big shout out. I hope most of them are staying back in business and thriving though, because I want to say this on air. If they are, we're all coming to you. And I hope you are, guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave
Yeah,
us. So, what are
love
your
it.
parting words with my viewers before we log off?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would say is really, take the opportunity. Now is such an amazing time in life and business and social
Sure.
media where you've got access to free platforms where if you really want to take a chance to grow a business, build a personal brand, do something different, whether, it's philanthropic or commercial, you've got all of these things and take the
Mm,
opportunity to use them. I
sure.
just think that we're so fortunate in
Yeah,
the
we are.
time that we
We
live
are in
in.
this time. Yeah, we have everything
Yeah,
actually, and
we
excess of
do.
everything.
Yeah.
We just have to look harder. That's there. And we have to follow your channel. So viewers, make sure you follow her. We want to spread the power and the joy of giving. That's what we do at One with Rags. So Suzanne, did you enjoy doing the interview with
It
us?
was great. Thank you. If anybody's got any questions, then hit me up and let me know.
Will, for sure. They will. Now you stay on the channel. Don't go anywhere else. I'm just going to log off from the recording. So guys, this was us, Rags from Dubai and Suzanne Shadwick from Melbourne. I really do hope you had an exhilarating journey with us. I think we were a good 45 minutes with you. So take back everything. Do follow Suze and of course stay on the Rags page. Mas salama everyone and wishing you a healthy and a safe until next time I see you again. Ta-da! Suzanne, stay with me. Okay.